watchers, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to do this head-to-head, which I think it's going to be interesting, or at least it was interesting for me to think through it. So what we have here are two solid steel Swiss-made automatic sport chronographs at kind of a low to mid-tier price points. So you know, they have similar function, 316L steel and sapphire crystal. They both have screw-in case backs, so you know, let you see those screw-in case backs there, and they both have screw-in crowns with 200 plus in terms of water resistance, steel bracelets. One on the left here, just introducing the watches to you, is the Longines Hydroconquest automatic chronograph L3.744.4, and full model number at the bottom here, as well as in the video description, something I introduced and reviewed not so long ago. Okay, the MSRP 2050 USD, so 2050 USD, sale price realistically around 1400 USD. Okay, so that's the one on the left. On the right corner here, this is the watch that started it all. This was the first video of the channel, the TAG Heuer Formula 1 Caliber 16 automatic chronograph, model number CAZ 2012 BA0970. Down the bottom here, I will detail it, as well as further links in the video description. Now, of course, I would have loved to have an Aqua Racer to compare, because Aqua Racer is more towards this Hydroconquest type of line, but this is what I have, and I think they're kind of similar, and Aqua Racer actually would be slightly more expensive. So this is actually closer in price to the Longines at a retail of 3,200 USD, realistic sale price around 2,400 or 2,200, I think is what I can find it for. So all links down the bottom, of course, for you guys to check out if you're interested. So it is actually considerably more expensive than the Longines. So, you know, the noble and ancient house of Longines produced this piece. How will it fare against the upstart, the LVMH TAG Heuer juggernaut that, you know, honestly, a lot of people like to hate on, and they don't do themselves justice in some of the things they do. But, you know, there's no doubt they are a big brand, and they are very well marketed. You know, you see them everywhere, and if you ask people about brands, I think most of the time TAG is in the first 10 that they mention, and often these days in terms of lay people, they mention TAG before they will mention Longines. That's just a function of marketing. So let's just get into this head-to-head comparison. All right, first up, caliber. Okay, the Longines, if you know about this one, this is a L688 chronograph. This is a movement that's effectively unique. It is based on an ETA, but it's effectively unique to a Longines column wheel chronograph, vertical clutch, 54-hour reserve. I think there's no doubt this kicks the stuffing out of this 7750. So there's not even a COSC chronometer 7750. It's a standard 7750. It's a good, solid workhorse, but it is absolutely no comparison to the one in the Longines. So I think this is absolutely no controversy here. You have to give the win to the Longines. I've given 9 versus 7. Case and bezel. Okay. I think the Longines is the more original case. Okay. So yes, the side is a bit slabby and the lugs are nothing too special, but they've got this crown guards which kind of integrate the pushers here. So let me just start the chronograph pushers to run it through this video here now. Okay, so the pushers are integrated with the crown guards, and that's something a little bit special. So the case is a little bit more original in the Longines. That's my my view on this. I think the TAG Heuer case is a lot more generic. Okay, slab-sided again, right? Pretty standard lugs, pretty standard side there with the crown guards and the pushers coming out. But I think the bezel is I think more interesting, definitely more interesting, and I think overall deserves a better mark. Longines is kind of a more standard aluminium insert dive bezel. This one is actually ceramic with a very nicely done tachymeter scale. So TAG Heuer wins on the bezel, Longines wins on the case. Overall, I think it's par for this mark. I've given 8 and 8 versus case and bezel mark here. Dial and crystal. Okay, the crystal here, they're both sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating. So that's effectively the same. They're both flat, so neither of them are dome. Now the Longines, okay, let you look at that nice sun ray, sunburst type of dial here, and the details that it has here, you know, printed chapter ring, applied markers, of course, polished hands. Now, I think this is very good. I really do enjoy this look here on the dial of the Longines. But I think the TAG Heuer does take it. I mean, there's more layering here. The chapter ring sits on a different level. The markers just have a bit more pop, in my opinion, the applied markers, you know, and then the three subdials are also on a slightly different layer. And then that anthracite sunburst effect, I think it's just more striking to the eye. So that's just my opinion about this. I think the TAG Heuer has a better dial overall. You know, the multi-level on this dial pops a bit more, so I'm giving the TAG Heuer the win here. 8 for TAG Heuer dial versus 7 on the Longines dial, crystal being the same thing. Bracelet. Okay, this is where I think this is probably both these watches' weakest performance here. I think it's a tough one. I think so let me just open the Longines here to show you. So they do have this solid deployant hands, but it is actually pressed metal on the clasps, pressed metal on the dive extension, as well as this keeper here. But the Longines is otherwise solid end links, and also screw adjustment. Hopefully you can see the screws, you know, like there, for example. So just get to focus. So there you can see it's a screw adjustment here. Okay, so that's the Longines bracelet. Now the TAG Heuer is even poorer, I would say, on the clasp here. So let me just open this up for you. So there is a pressed metal extension, pressed metal clasps, right? No push button, it's just friction. But in this case, the arms are also pressed, you know, flat. They're not actually solid. So that's an even poorer clasp. And the bracelet, whilst I think it gets a bit of extra mark because they give those ceramic bits in the middle, that dark ceramic, it doesn't have any screw links. It's actually push, pin and collar. So I think that doesn't make up, you know, the ceramic doesn't make up the ground quite enough for the TAG Heuer to pull even. I think you have to give the win to the Longines here. So 7 versus 6. They're not fantastic because of the clasp being poor, but I think the Longines is slightly better. Okay, quality-wise, look, I think both of this in terms of fit and finish, the feel in hand, they are on par with expectations of Swiss-made watches at this price tier, you know, around the 1,500 to 2,000 mark, and above 2,000. They're kind of on par, and I don't think I can quite separate them in terms of the finish, the feel, the fit. I have to give them the same mark here. That's my opinion. And in terms of having this two on the road test and being the watch I've owned for over 2 years now, it's 8 versus 8 for this one. Style. Okay, the most subjective category. Okay, I really like the style of both of these watches. Okay, that's my honest view of this. I really enjoy the look of both of this. They're clearly both kind of sports, kind of tool watch ones. The Longines is slightly quieter, so let me just push that on the wrist there for the shot. So it's smaller, right? It is actually 41 millimeter. Well, not the crown, of course. The bezel is 41 millimeters. It's slightly quieter, you know. It is still a tool watch, but a little bit more kind of refined type of look. So that's what you're getting with the Longines. Now the TAG Heuer is clearly a full-blooded sports type chronograph. So let's just put that on the wrist and show it to you. But it is bigger, bolder, louder, right? 44 millimeter in terms of diameter on my 17 centimeter wrist. It is actually kind of a louder watch. I think, you know, on another day, I might actually be tempted to give the extra mark to the TAG Heuer because I think it just pops more, and the bracelet also stands out more because of that differential with the ceramic and that anthracite dial. You know, on another day, I might have given 9 in terms of style to this particular tag. One of the best looking Formula Ones I've ever seen, I must say. But, you know, today I feel that I'm going to give them the same mark, 8 versus 8. I enjoy the looks of both of these ones. Performance. Okay, performance-wise, I think they both have good lume. The lume is on par in terms of lasting through the night. They're both super luminova. They're both dive-capable, water-resistant. The Longines is marketed as kind of a dive range, so it does have 300 meters, and it does have, you know, a nice working bezel there. The TAG Heuer, of course, doesn't have a rotating bezel, but it is not marketed as a dive watch. This is marketed as a sports chronograph, And I think it fulfills the intended purpose very well. Both of these watches do very well. You know, this Longines with that nice, you know, very, very nice solid dive style bezel, you know, very loud actually, nice and solid clicks there that they're getting. And the 300 meters versus 200 meters. You know, I think I'm going to give them the same mark here on the performance because they really fulfill their roles as well as they intend to, I think. All right, durability. All right, durability is controversial. Like, they're both solid steel. They're both 190 grams plus of 316L stainless steel. They both have sapphire. I think the TAG Heuer just deserves a slight extra mark because they've given ceramic, right? Okay, so that bezel insert as well as the center links on the bracelet, they are actually ceramic material, more expensive. Hence the, you know, partly explaining why it's far more expensive in the price, but doesn't quite completely justify it, I think. But, you know, I think for me, enough for me to give just a 1 mark more to the TAG Heuer for the durability stakes here. Okay, value. Now this one, again, the Longines, I think clearly pulls ahead. I think they're both quality pieces. I just think the Longines with that fantastic L688 movement is far more compelling. You know, the TAG Heuer, yes, it does give a ceramic, but because the movement is stock standard 7750, that is not a chronometer. It's just too basic for the asking price, I think. So value-wise, you have to give this a knock on the head. So the L668, you know, column wheel, fairly unique or effectively unique movement for Longines does give you that value mark there, in my opinion. So 7 versus 8 for the value. All right, last one. Again, probably a bit controversial. Now, Longines, I think is something that needs no introduction. You know, they are one of the oldest brands in the world. I believe that Longines, that winged hourglass, is possibly the oldest trademark in the world. One of the oldest trademarks anyway, in terms of a company logo. They've been around longer than Patek. Some people are surprised to hear that, but they are actually a few years older than Patek. The name Longines. So it really has a lot of history. It's not what it used to be. You know, this is now a subsidiary of the Swatch Group. So they've fallen from the heights of what they used to have. But, you know, it is still a name that I think that deserves respect amongst horology houses. Now, TAG Heuer, as mentioned, there is no doubt they are very, very well marketed. They are in the consciousness of the public. But they also have some notoriety and they have some scandals, you know, like the caliber 1860 something, I think. Anyway, that one that they bought over from Seiko and they tried to pass it off as an in-house, you know, and then they were found out and had to admit, yes, they bought it from Seiko. You know, that's the things that they do, a bit of a kind of corny marketing that they sometimes have. I think you have to take a few marks off TAG. People do like to hate on TAG. Now, there's no doubt. I think in my mind they do make quality products, but design-wise, scandals, marketing, people do kind of have things to say about TAG Heuer. I'm going to give 6 to TAG Heuer today versus 8 on Longines. Okay, so where are we? That's the mark, right? So not too surprising, hopefully, for you guys in terms of the outcome. So in summary, you know, we got a really interesting comparison that you know, at least for me, this has been quite fun to do. They are both very capable Swiss automatic sports chronographs. The pieces are a match in terms of quality today, in terms of style and performance. I think the TAG Heuer does have the better bezel. It does deserve a better mark for the bezel. The dial is more standout in my opinion, and it does have extra durability marks because of the ceramic materials that it gives here. But you know, the Longines wins on having a fantastic caliber, the L688. It does have a more original case, I think. Marginally better bracelet because it's screw links and solid arms, and far more compelling value and a more respected brand name. So there you go, that's my comparison of the Longines versus this TAG Heuer. Guys, let me know your thoughts about this. If you own either of these watches or watches from these brands, would be interested in what you think. So guys, if you enjoy my videos, do consider subscribing. New content every week, always aiming to be objective and unbiased about all things horology. Thank you for sticking with me, and as always, I'll catch you next time.